Football Manager 2024 has now been out for over 3 months, and I think it's time to take on the most difficult rebuild on the game, taking the worst team in England to the top of football and winning the Champions League. Now, there is no cap on this rebuild. It could take me 10 years, it could take me 20 years, but welcome to Bishop Stortford, 17 points in 25 games. Now, this isn't just going to be a rebuild. I'm also going to be giving you guys a tip in every single season, whether that be free agent scouting, lower league scouting, Wonder Kid scouting. This is the video for you because every single season there will be something to help you out on Football Manager 2024. So grab some popcorn, it's going to be a long one. Welcome to rebuilding Bishop Stortford. So the first thing to look at Bishop Stortford is the current squad. Now, obviously being a semi-professional squad, there isn't a lot of money, there isn't a lot of room for rotation. It is pretty much the squad we've been given, which is going to be looking like something with no left back, a right back, centre mids, wingers and a striker. So first of all, it's time to find the perfect tactic. And that tactic is going to be the perfect 4-2-3-1 that I built myself and is absolutely fantastic. Now you can see from the team there is wingers, there is a half decent striker. We've managed to find someone that can play left back and 2 decent central defensive midfielders. But the thing about this tactic and the thing about lower league instantly is you need to make a tactic which is quite easy for players to understand. You can see there's actually not too many sort of instructions for the players. Play it wide with a slightly higher tempo and run with the ball. Pass in behind as well. So I think this tactic is going to work very well in the lower leagues. We've got take short kicks on, distribute to the centre backs and build up from the back, counter and counter press, and a high press system. No high line because, good lord, I know the centre backs are not going to be quick. Kieran Clements with 9 pace and Billy Cracknell with 9 pace as well. One thing I'm going to eat a little tip to kick things off. A lot of people when they go into lower league management think they can just plug in a tactic which will work in the Premier League. You've got to remember these players do not have the pace, the decision making, the composure, the concentration of them sorts of players. So you start adding a ridiculous amount of instructions to players, they're going to have no idea what's going on. They're going to get very confused and run around like headless chickens. So try and keep your tactics as basic as possible. I have mentioned there's not a lot of money here at the club, £131,000 in the bank. I mean, it seems like a lot of money to the average person. For a football club, it's not a lot. The wage structure here, there's £5,000 to spend. We've got £200 left of that to spend. So we're pretty much at the limit. And as we've said in the intro, they are the worst team in England. They are currently sitting bottom of the Vanarama National League North. And if we check out the Vanarama National League South, Havant and Waterlooville are on 15 points. As I was choosing the team, Dover were bottom, I think, on 18. So I think there's been a game which has changed there. So apologies for that. But Bishop Stortford are pretty much the worst team in the league. And they're actually the place where I've done my driving test as well. So another little fun fact for Bishop Stortford. They are predicted to come 23rd. They are obviously right at the bottom of the league. So it's going to be a very difficult rebuild. What I'm going to do first of all is just go ahead and do January. See if I can find any players that can come in and help us out for the end of this season. And hopefully we can secure safety. We've got a fair few points to go ahead and try and make up, as we got 10 points and a game in hand away from getting safety already. So it's a tough old task. So let's get into it. The January transfer window and then the end of the season. And as you can see, life at Stortford has got off to a fantastic start with 8 points in a possible 12, 2 wins, 2 draws, and being unbeaten is a fantastic start. It's lifted us off the bottom of the table, but still 7 points away from safety. But luckily now we've got 2 games in charge, and I have managed to do a few signings as well. So welcoming 3 brand new players. We've got Tobias Herlock, who is a decent 18-year-old winger. We've got Brandon Riviero, also a winger or a cam. Looks very, very good for this level. And Portuguese, so adds a little bit of flair into the squad. And Ben Ruta, who for me is a very decent striker. Now, one thing again, when you're looking at the lower leagues, star ratings often do not mean a thing. For example, Brandon Riviero is only 3.5 star player. But for this level, a player with 11 dribbling, 11 first touch, 12 flair, and that pace is a top tier cam or left winger. It says he's a good National League North player. Trust me, he is going to be good enough for the likes of League 2. He is absolutely fantastic. And Ben Ruta, at this level, you're looking at pace and finishing on your striker. 12 finishing is very decent at this level, as is 12 pace and acceleration. I'd like him to have better concentration and composure, but at this level, you cannot be too picky. And again, the scouts are telling me he's a leading Trident League player. I don't even know what that is. It's not even on the game. And he's much better than that. And trust me, you're going to see that in the end of this season. Now, looking at the team, we are still in that 4-2-3-1. But as we pick by our best 11, we're going to have two of our men come into the team, Aviero and, trust me, Ben Rutter up front, a very strong advanced forward. The team is looking decent. I am confident that we're going to be able to survive this season. This sort of first little bit is just the real life season. And we're going to be keeping them up, obviously, because this game is difficult, but only to a point. If you plug in a good tactic, you make the right signings, of course, we can keep this team up. But this summer is where we're going to be making the first sort of tips and showing you guys how to absolutely smash this game. So let's just fast forward to them, where hopefully, touch wood, we are safe and we are now going to be building on the second season of the rebuild. And well, as you can see from the league table, we have of course stayed safe on 57 points and a -11 goal difference, which is an absolute massive rise from when we picked up the club. The form was fantastic from as soon as we walked through the door. I have not done anything special. I signed 3 players, I plugged in a decent tactic and the form turned around. And sometimes a new manager is just what it takes at clubs like this. But the good news is that we are going to be in the Vanarama National League North next season, and we are not sacked in season 1, because that's what would have happened if I did not keep the team up, which is good to know. We are good enough to be in this league. Now, Giovanni McGregor was fantastic, and brand new signing Brandon Aviero with a 7.21 was absolutely outrageous. Now, my first tip for this rebuild is what I do when I build my squads at this level. You need to not be scared of having 0 players at the club. Now, I'm quite lucky. There's a few players that I think here are actually good enough to beat the squad. But the way I set up my team at the end of the season is to have your starting 11 picked and also your backup 11 on the bench. So sub 1, goalkeeper, sub 2, right back, sub 5, left back, sub 7 would be a DM, sub 9 would be a central attacking midfielder, and sub 11 would be your striker, etc. for every single position. And you can see from what we've got at the top here, there is a lot of players that we need to go out and sign. And at this level, I cannot stress that buying young players is not what you want to be doing. A good player that you're going to sign here with 5-star potential is going to be good enough in League 2. Very, very rarely in Vanarama National League North, South, or even the National League are you going to be able to pick up a 5-star potential player that's not going to choose a team in League 2 over you, that wants to be at the club and actually going to be viable for you to go ahead and sign. So first of all, piece of recommendation, change this instantly to being around 20 years of age, and max age at around 30. You don't need to have young players right now. You are looking for players that are top of the class that are available, and the first thing you're going to do is go over to all of them and scout every single one of them and get them all in on trial. This is the best piece of advice I can give anyone playing FM in the lower leagues. Trialing is a free version of scouting. You can see right there, I have bid on 22 players to get them in on trial. Click forward one day, every single player is going to come in on trial because they're currently without a squad, other than Lindley and Mitchell, who have already got bids on them and are going to move to them clubs. We're going to go forward one more day, and you can see we already have good knowledge on every single one of these players. And as we look through them on star rating, they are already a very good choice for our squad. Changes to reports, go by ability. Right there is 7 players that have no interest in them that are willing to come to us and are better than every single player in our squad. Now, obviously, you don't want to just sign the first one, and my best piece of advice is to use the 2 weeks of trial, because at the end of the 2 weeks, you'll have full knowledge on them players, on their stats. Right now, as we look at someone like Lucas Vine, we don't know a lot about him. It's saying he's a good Vanarama National League North player, but again, I stress, star ratings do not mean anything. We want to wait until we know this guy's stats, and in 2 weeks, we will know every single one of his stats. And again, 2 week trials over 1 week trials. 1 week trials, you find out probably 60%. 2 weeks, you find out all of their stats and things like their hidden personality, which you want to be able to know as well, because a player is stroppy and not going to be good for your squad morale. You don't want him around at the club. So I'm now going to go forwards and do this transfer window, pretty much scouting players like that in every single incident. Don't worry, there is a lot more tips on scouting at this level coming up. We've probably got 4 seasons until we're into League 2, so you're going to get 4 different scouting methods, so make sure you're still watching. Let's go forward and see what sort of players we can pick up for this window. So it has taken me from the 2nd of May to the 4th of July to get a full squad that I am happy with. I now have 22 players that for me are going to be good enough to take us to the next level. And as we look at the Vanarama National League North season preview, we've gone from 23rd to 16th. Again, I guarantee you we are better than the 16th best team in this league, but that is what we have done with just one transfer window of business. Now, speaking of the transfers, there has been a hell of a lot. I'm not going to go through and show you every single player because, to be honest, a lot of these players are not going to be good enough for probably one season's time, so it'll be a waste of my time to show you now. I'll show you a few, like Kelechi Chibuze. This guy's a 20-year-old goalkeeper. I signed him because he's very determined. He is only 20 years of age and got a 3.5-star current ability, and he's got great ball playing ability, great one-on-one goalkeeping, and for this level is fantastic. So his age was even more of a bonus, the fact he was just 20 years of age. Now, if I go through the general selection info and you look at this squad and the age profile, you've got 20, 22, 27, 22, 21, 22, 21, 25, 22, 23, 21. Now, I did say age is not a massive thing when scouting, but if the best option is a young player, it is a massive, massive bonus because they could potentially have some sell-on value. Now, a lot of these players, again, are on non-contracts. Now, that is a thing in this level that you're going to have to just get used to. Some of the players will only sign non-contracts because you're a semi-professional club. So someone like Kieran Clements, who's a 3.5-star centre-back, or Giovanni McGregor, who's a 4-star winger, could leave the club at any time on a free contract, and there is nothing you could do about it. That is sadly just the way of non-league. So what you want to do is get him onto contracts, which we've done with the likes of Josh Hines, Brandon Naviero, Kelechi Chibuze, because obviously then there has to be a bid accepted by yourselves. And for players like McGregor and Clements, there is none of that. They don't have to talk to me at all. You can go straight to Kieran, give him a contract, and that's Kieran out of the door, sadly. But hopefully that doesn't happen too much. We're going to now go forward in Season 2 and see how we get on in the Vanarama National League North. I don't want to stay here for too long. We want to get out of the league as quick as possible. And obviously, in this league, there is only one promotion spot automatic, and then the playoffs is a 1-game potluck bonus round. So we don't want to be doing any of that either. We want to automatically get promoted out of the National League North. And that is exactly what we've done on 103 points. We were over 23 points clear of the team in second place. And we built a squad which was more than good enough for this level. And again, it said we were the 16th best team. The journalists and the star ratings at this level really do not matter. You are trying to find players with good stats in them areas that matter. Like I said, for a striker, finishing and pace. For a centre-back, you're looking at marking, tackling and heading. Now, not only did we have a fantastic run in the league and end up winning it on 103 points, but we also got to the final of the Isuzu FA Trophy. We lost 2-0 to Dorking, who have just come first in the Vanarama National League South. Interesting, no Vanarama National League won it this year. And last season, Scunthorpe, who were in the Vanarama National League North, also won it. So a little bit of a mishap in FM, possibly. I mean, the FA Trophy should be won by the best teams in the... It's like the FA Cup Championship teams winning it, which is very odd. But we've got to the final alongside Dorking. Sadly, lost that game 2-0. And as we look at the squad and how everyone was this season, the first thing you can see is we did lose star centre-back Kieran Clements. He left the club midway through the season, and there was nothing we could do about it because of the way I scout players and I build up my squads. We had 4 centre-backs, which went down to 3, which was more enough to cover. So someone like Ayo Shogbene or Caden Harrak coming into the team, 21 years of age, and did a good enough job, which is fantastic. Looking at the goal scorers, Ben Reuter, who hardly played a game last season, only scored 2 games, and is a leading Trident Leagues player, scored 29 goals and got 1 assist this season. And like I said, he is just a good striker in the positions he needs to be. 12 finishing, 12 determination, good pace. I was not worried about this guy being a bagsman because I know FM lower leagues and I know the little stats that you just need to be good at. He loves big matches and he's got the key stats and he's good in the key areas, which is exactly what you are looking for in the lower leagues. You're not looking for someone to be an all-rounder. You want them to be a specialist. Josh Hines also is fantastic. He scored 23 goals and got 13 assists off the left wing this season. He's fairly quick. He's quite big at 5'10", good finishing, good determination. Fantastic for him to play anywhere across the front three and a very helpful, versatile player. Kareem Isaka, a pacey winger, exactly what we needed. Brandon Naviero is leaving the club because of his outrageous performances this season, 15 goals and 16 assists. He's Portuguese, he's a cam. easy Bruno Fernandes. He is off, leaving the club to Salgueiros in Argentina, in Portugal. Giovanni McGregor, 12 goals, 12 assists, and Jordan Aina, who was our fullback, with 8 goals and 19 assists. And again, as a fullback, he is not the greatest defensively, but going forward, 7 crossing and outrageous pace at this level was just more than good enough for him to absolutely dominate this league. A 7.48 average rating and 19 assists is simply stupid at this level, given what he's got. He's just quick. That's pretty much all he's got in his locker. And Dan Walker is pretty much the opposite. Not very quick, but does the defensive work quite well. Still got 12 assists in the league and a 7.08, but it shows you that being a good defensive fullback is not always the best thing. Having pure pace at this level is just as vital to getting great results out of your defenders at this level. And I stress that is at this level because as you go through the levels, of course, technical ability, mental ability comes into it a lot more. But from my understanding and from the countless saves I have done at this level, pace is the biggest sort of differential between your players and the sort of AI. They don't look at it too much. You can look at it and you can exploit it at the highest of levels. Now, obviously next season, we're going up to the Vanarama National League. As I look through the contracts in this club, there is a lot of players whose contracts are expiring this season, and if I just sort of deselected every single one of them, we'd have 6 players left. And again, even though we've just absolutely smashed it, do not be scared to have a big old clear out, because I can guarantee you and tell you right now, a lot of the players that were fantastic this season are not going to be good enough for the Vanarama National League North and are going to have to leave the club. So welcome in a whole host of brand new players who improved this team a drastic amount. We've made a slight change and put Hines up front because we've signed players, again, that are going to be fantastic in this league, like Reece Smith, a very quick, versatile left wing or cam. Seb Booth, who's an 18, well, now 19-year-old central attack midfielder with outrageous dribbling, first touch, and decision making. And at this level, playing in cam, I cannot stress how good of a pickup someone like Seb Booth is. We've still got McGregor at right wing. Somehow he stayed around at the club. Alexander and Page in DM. Tom Clifford, a brand new left back. I mentioned the other guy was decent. This guy, 12 crossing, 11 pace. Not as good defensively. I guarantee you he smashes his assist record from last season. Jordan Aina is, of course, going to mainly play at right back, but if not, Cracknell is here as his backup at 23 years of age. Williams and Agbula at centre back are going to be good enough. Agbula is quick. Williams is also fairly quick on 11 pace apiece. And again, looking at the defensive stats that are very important: tackling, marking, and heading. I call them the holy trinity. They need to be able to be good in them 3 at this level, as well as having a bit of pace about them, and they'll be absolutely fantastic. As we look at the season preview, we are 250 to 1 to win the league and the worst team in the league. But again, I guarantee you we are going to outperform that a hell of a lot. And I am so confident because of the sheer amount of players we have had on trial in just this summer. There is 189 players here that have been scouted and been on the shortlist, and I guarantee you pretty much every single one of them has been at the club over the last 3 months, as we are now on the 23rd of July. I have got the best squad possible for this club at this level. We are just about over the wage budget and we are spending a hell of a lot of money. And the thing that I want to show you this time around in terms of scouting is international appearances. Now, this might sound a little bit outrageous, but yes, it is possible to sign players at this level with youth appearances in the international level. And if you feel like you've scouted everyone there is to scout, this is something that I will use consistently to help me find players no matter what level I am sitting at. So what you want to do is head to the scouting, click edit search, click on this drop down here, down to international and to youth appearances. Now I've got this set up already as a minimum of 1 youth appearance. And what you want to do is pretty much just get any of these players in on trial. I mean, Arlo Doherty, I'm not sure if we'd have ever have seen before. Get them on trial for 2 weeks. And another thing you need to be able to do is to set this to UK and Ireland, so you get a few more scouts come in. There you go, 70 players come in. This scouting range is something you have to be very, very careful of, which I must say I'm awful at being careful with it because it's very, very expensive and I often forget to turn it off. But we're going to go through and again get some of these 70 players in on trial as well. You can only have 30 players on trial at once, but we'll offer it anyway and see who comes in. As soon as you've done that, take this off back to no scouting. It's a little bit of a cheat around the system. You've just found another 54 players that you wouldn't have potentially seen by just clicking one button. You've spent no money and that is all you've had to do, and you've found an extra 54 players like Will Ferry. that name I know is someone that at this level absolutely bangs. I've seen him on so many FMs. He's just come up on that list. He wasn't before. I'm pretty sure he's one of the names that wasn't before. He was. All right, ignore me. Jordan Ibe is here, for example. There's lots of players that could potentially come in on trial, and again, a lot of them are going to get rejected. A lot of them are going to get accepted. Mark them all as red. Go up to the ones that are accepted. Now, some of them are going to be absolutely rubbish, which is just the reality of scouting and getting players in on trial. Now, if we set this by squads, go by report, have a look at ability, there are some players here that could be fantastic. There are some players here that are simply not good enough and have been scouted using that method, but are never going to make it. They might have had a youth appearance for Bermuda, for example, and are never going to make it at a club like this. Simply go onto them, right-click them all, terminate their trials. It costs you absolutely nothing to get that little bit of knowledge. Someone like Jordan Ibe could potentially be a game breaker that you'd have never have seen at this level. I'm done for transfers, so none of these are actually going to come in to the club, but it's just another way you could potentially find players by using international youth appearances. Now, that is a lower league tip on how to scout international youth appearances, but there is going to be one later on in the video for youth appearances internationally, because there is sort of another level they can go to as you go up the sort of leagues. As you get to sort of League One and Championship, you no longer want to be scouting everyone with a youth appearance, because like you say, you could get someone from Bermuda. Right now, there's not a lot of choice of players. When you get up the levels, there might be someone from Argentina that you can find, and again, I'll be showing you how to find them players from the bigger nations later on in the video. But let's go forward for this season to see what we can do in the first season in the National League. Remember, we are bottom of the league in the season preview, which, as you can see from this league table, is an absolute travesty, because we have come in 10th place on 69 points. Now, we are quite a way away from the playoffs and from champions, but we are also 40 odd points away from relegation from the league, where we were tipped to finish. And again, I stress, is because I'm signing players who have got the correct attributes in the position. A fantastic season this season, and one that I'm very, very happy with. Again, looking at the players that done bits. Josh Hines, Harvey Greenslade, who's a striker we signed this summer, also is quick. He can sort of finish. He's got good decision making. Perfect for an advanced forward. Elliot Andrew, Seb Booth this season, I said was going to be outrageous, just 19 years of age, 11 goals and 6 assists, and a fantastic replacement for Portuguese man Brandon Aveiro. And again, some of these players might be available on your saves to go ahead and find, and if that is the case, obviously, feel free to go ahead and sign them. Like Tom Clifford, I mentioned the left back was going to be a key area. Last season, Jordan Ibe absolutely smashed it at right back with a 7.48 or something, and our left back had a 7.02. Well, this season, both of them are even. Both with 15 assists. One got 5 goals, one got 4. Tom Clifford, a 7.28, and Jordan Ibe, a 7.2. Just showing that small change in being able to cross a ball and having the pace was more than good enough for this team, and good enough for this league as well. So absolutely buzzing with the 2 wing backs and how they have performed. And overall, as a squad, I'm very, very happy. Now, on the right wing, we did have, who was here from the very start, and I forgot his name, has ended up leaving the squad. And that summer was a massive summer of sort of everyone going ahead, leaving, lots of new transfers in. And this summer is going to be the exact same, because when we look at this contract situation, look at the squad, a lot of players here are going to be leaving. No contract left. So even someone like Kelechi Chibueze, who's been fantastic for us, might be out the door. We'll see if we can get him on a brand new contract, but there could be someone better for us. And again, the way we'll do that is by going through the scouting with Joji. And of course, as we go up in reputation, there is more players here which are willing to go ahead and join us, like someone like Caleb Chukwuemeka, who's interested in teams like Alfreton, Chippenham and Hornchurch. He's been at Aston Villa. His brother plays for Chelsea. He's probably a very good player, someone worth getting in on trial, and just your club getting better in reputation helps you out so much. But there is one more scout method which I think is absolutely pivotal in non-league that not enough people talk about. That is this whole thing up here, using your director of football. Now, our director of football, David Brindley, is okay. He's not the greatest. Try and improve this every single season. But what he can do is he can find you players that are willing to join the club that are going to be absolutely fantastic. Now, what you have to do is go to request director of football suggestion over here, click in the position you want. I personally, for the first sort of 6 weeks of the transfer window, do this for every single position, week in, week out. Go goalkeeper, free transfer, suggest. Right back, free transfer, suggest. Centre back, free transfer suggests. Until you've gone through every single position and you have a host here of 30 players that probably are not going to be on your scouting list. Now, the most frustrating thing about this list is if you drag down and you right click, you cannot do anything, which is very annoying. I wish you could do it. It would make the trial system so much easier. Sadly, when you're on this one, you have to do it one by one. Right clicking on Brian Chinnar, offer trial 2 week, down to the next player, Rocco Rees, transfer offer trial 2 weeks. It is very long, very annoying and very frustrating. It's not the same as everything else where you could right click, drag, right click and click in and you can't do anything, which is very, very frustrating. I wish you could, but it's certainly worth doing because again, throughout this whole rebuild, even right up to sort of the championship, I use this and abuse this to a ridiculous level because there is players here that will not come up on your scouting, but your director of football might have had previous relationship with or just has the contact details of and can get them in on trial at the club. I mean, for example, we've just offered, 3 or 4 players or even 2 players contracts there. We're going to get them into the club right now and see how good they are compared to our goalkeeper. We obviously have Chibuozi in goal. Brian Chinnar and Rocco Rees come in and absolutely smash him out of the water. Obviously, again, I would do the full 2-week trial to choose which one we want, but I guarantee you one of them 2 goalkeepers is going to be much better than Chibuozi and probably the one we go ahead and bring in. So let's go forward for the transfer window. Our goal this season was obviously to get promoted from the Vanarab National League the actual National League. The last thing you want to be doing is stuck in this league for a long time. It is an absolute pig to get out of because of the same as the National League North and South. There is only one automatic promotion place and then the playoffs. Lord, we need to build a squad good enough to be the best in the league. So again, we're not going to be focusing on youth. We're going to be going for players that are the best of their ability in that position. If it's a young player, bonus. If it's a 32-year-old, does not matter. He is going to be good enough to take us to the next step. Just like our brand new superstar centre-back, Tyler Maguire. Now, there was a player who was a 3-star current ability and 5-star potential ability who looked great and potentially would be a better shout if I was in League 1 or League 2. But given the league we're in and given it's the hardest league to go out in, I went on pure quality. And Tyler Maguire at 27 years of age isn't going to improve much. But when you've got 17 acceleration, 18 pace, 12 heading, 12 tackling, 8 marking isn't the greatest, I am certainly going to be bringing you in as quick as possible because a player of this quality with that pace goes absolutely a long old way at a league like this. He is fantastic and is going to make a huge difference to our team and is one of the biggest things, again, like I've said the whole time, do not worry about age too much. Now, as you look through our squad, it's 25, 24, 24, 27, 26, 23. A 19-year-old and Frankie Jones is great, but then 24, again, a 19-year-old and Seb Booth is great, 23 and 22. I guarantee you Seb Booth and Frankie Jones are not going to be good enough for even League 1. I mean, this guy has 5-star potential and is potentially a League 2 standard midfielder. The only reason he's worth bringing in and playing in this team is because he's the best player in that position. There is no point in trying to bring in young players that are going to be good enough. You're just wasting your wage budget. I mean, already with what we've done, we're £717 over the wage budget, which is a lot of money. And at the end of the season, I'll go through and check out our team detail and show you guys exactly how we're doing wage-wise compared to everyone else. We're spending, I think, £11,000 in wages, which really isn't a lot given sort of the squad we've built and the quality of the players we've got. Let's go forward and see how we do get on. We are predicted this season to come down in 17th place. Last season, we predicted 24th. We come 10th. 17th place. 14th place above that would be 3rd. That's what we done last season. Can we do it again? Want to bring you back in a National League playoffs final, and one that we have won on penalties. Very, very nerve-wracking to get all the way to here and to not be absolutely dominating. We've got to go to penalties, which is very, very scary, but we've gone ahead and won it. We are going up into League 2, but it just shows, again, predicted to come 17th. We signed the right players in the right position, and we absolutely smashed it. Massively overachieving and absolutely smashing our goals of being now up into League 2. In just, I think, 4 seasons so far, we have taken the worst team in England to being a professional club in League Two, which is fantastic. I won't bore you and watch all the penalties. It was a 3-all game against Woking. Stats-wise, we were very, very even, 45% possession to their 55. Shots were pretty much the exact same. XG, we had 3.25, they had 1.31. Actually, as we look at the National League table itself, we come down in 5th place, Woking on 3rd place on 85 points, but York, who was just 2 points away from the trophy, did not get to the playoff finals, which is gutting for them. Aldershot smashed this season on 90 points, but I'm very happy with how we done. We were just sort of 4 or 5 points away from not being in the playoffs, and to get in the playoffs and win it is absolutely fantastic. And as we look at this screen with our average ratings, there is a standout player here again that continues to amaze me, and that is Jordan Aina with 16 assists again, and just showing how important at this level pace is, because as you look at his stats, he's really nothing special, but 16 assists and a 7.25 average rating. Last season, 12 assists, a 7.15 average rating. The season before that, a 7.47 and 15 assists. He is not the greatest right back in the world in terms of defensive ability. He's not the most determined player. He's a balanced personality, but he has got so much pace that when he runs down the line, defenders just do not have the pace to keep up with him. He's got a little bit of sort of concentration ability about him where he can pull the ball back for someone to tap it into the back of the net, and that was what Harvey Greenslade was fantastic at this season as well. 22 goals for him. Now again, he's got great decision making, decent finishing and great pace, so more than good enough to be a striker at this level. Josh Hines, a little bit of a fall off this season, 6 goals and 2 assists, but someone like Seb Booth, who I sort of said was an absolute coup for us, again this season, 6 goals and 12 assists, a 7.22 average ratings. Played 72 games for the mighty Stortford so far, and it's been absolutely fantastic. I worry the next step is going to be a step too far for him, but as you look at his sort of stats, 14 dribbling, 13 decision making, 13 flair, 12 passing, 14 technique, 12 teamwork, 14 vision. Realistically, they are good stats for like a League One player. He's missing a lot of the stats in and around everywhere else. His pace is shocking. His stamina is shocking. His heading, his long shots, his marking, his penalty taking, his corners, his crossing are all shocking. But you stick him in cam on an attacking midfielder on attack, he just needs to be able to pick the ball up and create. And that is exactly what we've got him in for. And that is exactly what he is absolutely fantastic at. Again, looking through the contracts, this season is going to be a massive season of a clear out. We've got a whole host of players that could be leaving the club. We have got a lot of players on maybe 2-year contracts now, which is quite good because it's a bit more financial security. We're of course now going to go to a professional club as well. We already have actually gone to professional. One thing here at Stortford is the facilities are absolutely shocking, and I can tell you right now, hand on heart, every single time I stopped this simulation at the end of the season and the start of the next season, I would request training facilities, youth facilities and youth recruitment, but they were useless and never gave me a single thing. And even until we get into the Premier League later on down the line, we do not have an under 21s club, and this youth recruitment I think is still like 2-star silver youth recruitment potential, which is infuriating, but it meant that the rebuild was even harder, and it meant we couldn't develop our own players, which is frustrating and something that I've loved to have done, giving a bit more of a storyline to certain players, but that wasn't the case, which is frustrating, but it is what it is. Let's go on to the next tip for League 2 transfer window. Now in this window we signed Dean Brisley. He is an 18-year-old who was in the Manchester United Academy, has 4.5-star current ability and 5-star potential ability. But how did we sign someone like Dean? It's by setting up this scouting method. Now what we've done is we've set the age criteria. It's between the age of 15 and 22. Put the contract status as expiring in the next 3 months, because at the end of the simulation we're on the 17th of May. In the division we are in as the Premier League. Now as you do that is you head to add condition, club and based in division, set this, go to Europe, England and Premier League. Now what we've got here is we've got 5 players in Ryan Carroll, Joshua Maskell, Harry William, Ian Togo and Max Fry, who at the moment would be interested in coming to us. Now I would offer them trials of course, because their contracts at Premier League clubs are going to be expiring, and hopefully we can keep an eye on them and get them in the door nice and early before anyone else picks them up. But as we go forward and as you sort of get closer and closer to the end date, and as you now tick over to being a League 2 club, which is going to be sort of in the middle of June, in the end of, so just like 2 weeks before their contract runs out, you'll tick over to being a League 2 club, and a lot more players will be interested. As we look at this right now, there's only 5. If we were to untick them being interested, there's 109 players, for example. Now you could go through and already go ahead and see if any of them want to come in on trial. But right now, none of them are going to be interested. You have to sort of wait until the end of June before their contracts end up expiring. And I sort of absolutely suggest that you get these guys in before their contracts expire. It's very hard to find them once their contracts expired because they're no longer based at the Premier League club. They're just free agents out there in the world. So even if you were to go ahead and drag and drop them all, add to shortlist indefinitely, just so they're on your shortlist of players, that is even a way to potentially get around doing that. But that for me is one of the best scouting methods to go ahead and do. Now we're sort of going up into League Two. We're a professional club. Players that drop out the Premier League are willing to now come and talk to you. When you're in the Vanarama National League North and South, and even the Vanarama National League, a lot of them don't even want to talk to you. They don't want anything to do with you. As soon as you go up into League Two, you can get great players. And of course, someone like Dean is an extremely rare find. I mean, this guy is probably going to go on to be championship level striker. He's not got the greatest finishing, but great determination and great pace. Still at this level is absolutely pivotal. You can then go down into the championship and find just someone like Tanasawaya Nukawaya from Cardiff. This guy made an appearance in the championship, so he is obviously going to have a bag to potential and potentially be a fantastic player. Great pace again, great first touch, good crossing, good dribbling, determined player, which is great to see. He's also 6'4", which makes him a bit of an anomaly in terms of player who's that quick, 6'4" at this level. Fantastic player to go and have, but you don't only search Premier League, you can also search the division sort of below that, so like the Championship. League One, you can then sort of change the age criteria from 15 to 23 to sort of 22 to 30, because at that point, if they're going League One to League Two, you sort of need them to be at the top of their game already and sort of a 3-star current ability player rather than being a youngster. Whereas from the Premier League, you're looking for the best youngsters that are not getting the contract renewed, like Dean Brisley, as you can see here from the star ratings, is a complete enough standout from anyone else. We also have still got Taylor Maguire at the back, Harrison Minturn, Max Kilsby, Fraser Alexander, Michael da Costa Gonzalez. I remember being a fantastic pickup. Great pace, great crossing, great first touch, great free kick taken. Again, at this level is absolutely fantastic. Spanish player, released from Bournemouth, signed the exact same way we found Dean Brisley, and should be an absolute standout in this window. So far, I've played 5 games and got 9 points, which is fantastic. You can see on the 29th of August, that shows you how much trialing and how much scouting we have been doing up until this point. And obviously, we've got off to a fantastic start, but again, the media are predicting us to come at 200 to 1, bottom of the league. Again, we'll prove them wrong and we'll absolutely smash it this window. Again, just to look at transfers and show you how many players are incoming. There is a lot of turnover, hence why I'm not going through and showing you a player every single time, because there is so many players. This video would be 7 hours long if we were to do it that way. So it is much more of a fast-paced rebuild rather than sort of me showing you every single player. Balance-wise, we've got lots of money in the bank for this level as well, 142k. I think at this point we can actually check the detailed statistics. We actually can, which is brilliant, and show you guys the salary per annum. We're spending £1.1 million, which is about 200k more than Cheltenham. Sheffield Wednesday are spending 4 times our money, so it shows you as well. Money-wise, we are competing with clubs at this point who are using twice as much salary for the most part in the playoffs, and we are just a little club down here not spending a lot. And transfer-wise as well, we have currently spent, I don't think, a single penny. 7.5k there on Toby Bowyer. Other than that, that is our first signing for actual money. You do not need to sign many players for money at this point. There is no point. You can get more than a good enough squad on free transfers. A little bonus tip for you guys, but let's go forward into League Two. And from now on, to speed things up a little bit, we'll go through every single promotion, and I'll go through the season before as well. So it took us 2 seasons to get out of League Two. In the first season, we come in 11th place on 69 points, a positive 16 goal difference, which is fantastic. And this season, we come 4th in the league, 4 points outside of the automatic promotion places, which is great in League Two because there's 3 of them, meaning playoffs is extremely frustrating and annoying to go through again, but we had to go ahead and do it. We come 4th. We faced off this season against Leyton Orient in the final, and again, won on penalties, which is weird that back-to-back we have now gone ahead and done that. It looks like we were absolutely shafted in this one. They scored in the 94th and 97th minute, so if I was actually playing this as my save, I'd have probably been crying at the screen and been absolutely fuming. Now, you can see in our team there has been a few changes, and one big change is Dean Brisley has left the club. And as I mentioned, he was very good for us and probably the top of his level for a sort of a League Two player. So he has left to Huddersfield, and he was fantastic for us in the first season. He scored 27 goals in 40 appearances, but very quickly on, he moved to Huddersfield. £115,000 is all we got for him, which is game-changing for our finances, because if you look at it, that sort of helped us in a time around here. We were in negative balance, and it helped us massively now to be positive and have lots and lots of money in the bank. So fantastic that Dean Brisley has gone on to bigger and better things. Huddersfield are currently sitting in League One. We're probably facing him next season, which is interesting, when he beats us in the playoff final, because that is exactly how FM likes to work. Now, someone like Moise Kamini, who scored 22 goals this season, has been signed. He was released from Portsmouth, who I believe were in the Championship at the time, using the method that I showed you guys last time out. Unbelievable pace, dribbling, no finishing whatsoever, but because of his stupid pace at this level, he scored 23 goals, and he's actually playing up front, I believe, as well. As we look at the tactics, he has got 6 finishing, 6 composure, but just simply because of his pace, he is absolutely smashing this level, which just shows you guys pace is very overpowered on FM. And also Nukawaya, the guy we signed from Cardiff a few seasons ago, 22 goals off that left wing, has been fantastic, and last season as well was also very good. This season, even better, but he's been an absolute superstar for us, and it just shows again, using the scouting methods that I am showing you, we are finding some absolute superstars. Dominic Ball has been a very good midfielder for us. He's 33 years of age. Joseph Adama was the player that we signed to be the new striker, rather than having Dean Brisley up front. Now, I actually found this guy using I don't know how I found him, to be honest. He's from the Nigerian leagues, Aqua United. And I've actually just gone through my scouting and found how I found this guy. And it was using the youth appearances at a minimum of 5, looking at 15 to 21. Obviously sorting it by striker at the time, where I found him using this method of the youth appearances. I'm guessing if we go back onto his name, it will show us that he's got 11 under 20 caps for Nigeria. That is exactly how I found him, and someone that I certainly wouldn't have found any other scouting method other than using that one, because I'm not being funny, a club like Bishop Stortford are not going to know about a Nigerian striker, so we've had to use our brain. Look who's got youth appearances, and that is how we found a player like Joseph Adama, who could potentially go on to be sold for £500,000. And again, looking at our League 2 season preview this season, we were predicted to come 23rd. We are upsetting odds every single time, absolutely smashing it. I have to say, this tactic is fantastic. It is a very, very strong 4-2-3-1, and the tactic is actually coming out on the 22nd of January, I believe, from Josh Daly himself. He's got it all prepared to come out on that day, as he's away on holiday. So for now, this tactic is available on Patreon, along with the save files for this rebuild. There'll be a whole host of them on that Patreon file. So if you feel free to want to go ahead and support and be like the legends on screen right now, you can pick up the download for this tactic. It is coming out for free via video in just 10 or 9 days time, as you guys see this video. But if not, if you want to help support on Patreon, feel free to go ahead and do so. It's down below. It helps me out massively. Now let's go forward for League One, see what sort of signs we can make, and see what sort of tips I can give you as well. You can also see up to this point in League One, I've got no idea, 40-50 minutes into this video, I've not mentioned loans once. And as the old singing from Zealand goes of how good loans could be, I just don't think they're necessary. I think they can probably get you up the leagues quicker, but they're also just not your players, and you're not building up your club at all. Now, don't get me wrong, sometimes it is pivotal to bring in a player if they're free and available to go and get for no loan fee. Go ahead and get them, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with bringing in loans. But I feel like the rebuild we've done here of signing no one on loan, everyone has come in to the club, we've paid their wages, we've gone ahead, sold them on for money, or, you know, they've gone ahead and not been good enough and moved on after. We've just built up a squad here like Moises Kameni. He is our player. We could sell him right now. Adamu, 400k. We could sell him right now. Whereas alone, you're sort of building up another team's sort of loanee young players. I'd rather not do that. I'm not saying Zealand is wrong, of course. Loans are fantastic, but sometimes don't go straight to the loan list. See if you can get players in on a free contract first. That is certainly something I look to do throughout my rebuilds, and anything I do in terms of FM, I never like using loans. For me, they are a complete waste of time. I'm just building up someone's player to £80 million value, and I can never see them again, and never fall in love with loan players. I've been taught that. So yeah, loans I don't use. free transfers, young players to come in, sell them on for money. That is my tip for this season. Let's go ahead and see how long it takes us to get out of League One and how we get to the point of doing it. So League One, the first season, we come 18th and probably did not strengthen quite as much as I thought we'd done. 56 points, just 8 points above the relegation zone, so I'm glad we've gone ahead and dodged that one. But the building we done for season 2 was fantastic, to the point we were 1 point away from winning the league, but also we were 4 points away from coming 7th. So a very, very tight season, 1 point away from winning the league, but it does mean we were automatically promoted in 2nd place with a 30 goal difference, the best in the league, which is fantastic. 85 points, 26 wins, 7 draws. A fantastic season when we come 2nd to MK Dons, who are a big club with a small fan base. We'll say it. We'll get MK Don slander out of the way nice and early. But I'm very, very happy. It took 2 seasons to get out of the National League, 2 seasons to get out of League One, 2 seasons to get out of League Two. And we are now into the Championship, which means money-wise, we are starting to go up a hell of a lot. Our wage budget is now £67,000 a week, which again, if we compare it to what we're sort of competing against, we aren't spending anywhere near that. We are, in terms of salary per annum, on £2.23 million, whereas MK Dons, who we just settled with, actually only 3.8, but Preston 15. So we are against some big boy money now, and we are doing well to sort of swim the way we are. We are finding players that are very cheap, again using all the scatter methods that I have shown you. I mean, someone like Luke Enright is certainly worth a shout. This guy is a 2.5 star decent National League striker. He's got 15 finishing, 13 composure, good pace, scored 12 goals in 11 starts. Obvious this guy is gonna bag goals, and he exactly does that. Sometimes star ratings just do not matter. And I think it's pretty clear to say as well that finishing does not also matter in League One, and pace is still very, very overpowered, because Moise Kameni, with his 6 finishing, scored 24 goals in the first season, 16 in this season, and has been absolutely smashing it. He has got 17 pace, and he pretty much just runs past everybody. He might miss a lot of chances. I mean, to be fair, he's outscoring his XG, so these stats don't even matter in that sense. I don't understand how this guy is scoring so many goals, but he is absolutely smashing it, just showing how good pace can be. We've also signed an absolute superstar here in Alex Booth. I mean, this guy was released from Spurs using the way that I showed you, by finding players that are, getting released in a month's time or 3 months' time from Premier League clubs. Alex Booth was one of them from Spurs, a value of nearly, up to £1 million, 19 years of age. Absolutely fantastic player, and we got him on a free transfer again, and still spending pretty much no money so far, bringing in young players. Edwin Burns is another one that looks fantastic from Everton, signing the exact same way as a central defence midfielder, potentially £750,000 worth of value in him. Jamie Wynn is another one, this time from the Championship in Swansea. 17 determination, great finishing, dribbling, crossing, and great pace. A fantastic player, potentially going to be good enough for us to, in the future, be an absolute superstar. And the last player I want to mention is Charlie Casper, because this guy has actually been with us now since the National League, and is actually proving to be a fantastic goalkeeper for us. He wasn't great in his first season in League Two, but done fantastic in his second. And again, maybe it's the defence. First season in League One wasn't fantastic. Second was absolutely brilliant. And look at his stats. He is not all of that, but he is consistent. He's a decent League Two goalkeeper, and is still the goalkeeper now going up into the Championship. And I'm going to tell you now, for the next few seasons, I'm going to try and find someone better than him. They just don't play. This guy plays every single game and does fantastic over the next few seasons as well. So on your saves, if you're looking for a keeper at National League level, he's at Burnley in real life. I don't know how old he is. He's probably quite young. He's 18 as you start the game. He's fantastic. Go ahead and get him. His stats are very, very well rounded. He's going to absolutely smash it for you. One thing that I've really tried to do over the last few seasons as well is improve the staff. Now, the board do not want to give me more coaches, so it is me, an assistant manager, 3 coaches, and a set piece coach still running things as we go up into the Championship, because the board, as you can tell from the training facilities, and youth recruitment, are the most stubborn board in the world and do not give us any improvements whatsoever. But the actual staff members we've got, if we look at someone like Matt Francis, is actually very good. 14 attacking and 12 defending. We've got 14 attacking, 11 defending, 12 mentals. Great working with youngsters, Elliot Dickman. And the last one we've got is Gary Roberts, 16 attacking, 20 motivational. Staff is absolutely pivotal, and this is probably going to be my tip for the League One sort of section of this, is that having the right staff is absolutely key. Your players get trained by these men. They need to be of good quality. If you have staff which are just pretty mediocre, your players won't grow to a level that you want them to. You have to have staff which are going to be able to train players into the players you want them to be. Now, for us here at Bishop Stortford, we're really struggling because our training facilities are only 1 star and our youth facilities are only 1 star as well. So as good as our staff can be, our facilities, we've got a field with some balls. We have not got a 5-star facility, so we can't really build any one to the top level, but we can certainly help by getting the best staff available. I would constantly look at improving your staff every single season when it comes to renewing the staff's contracts. Come to here, go to staff, and just look if you can improve them in any way. If you go to the staff search, we currently got great attacking coaches. Literally go to coaches, attributes, pick attacking, not defending, 15 minimum. Benny McCarthy's available. It'd have been a great coach to pick up. He's a great attacking coach. If we were to get 4 available, I'd probably get someone else in. Dean Radonovic, great attacking coach. We've already got great attackers. Let's look at a great defensive coach. Just change that to defending. Go to 15. Gary Hill from Salisbury. This guy is lights out good and would be fantastic. And it's going to certainly help you out in terms of developing players. Because currently for us, it's very, very difficult. It is just pretty much game time. Training for us is our staff being as good as they can be, our facilities letting us down. But staff is a massive thing you need to look out for. Now we're going to go ahead and do the championship portion. It's going to be very difficult to get the championship. I think it might take us 3 or 4 years, because even this summer, as we were a League One club, if we look at our season preview, we were still predicted to come 23rd. Now, obviously 50-1, that's the same as 21st, but we've massively outperformed every single season. We're probably going to get to a bit of a bottleneck where we're no longer going to be sort of good enough to just outperform. We're going to have to actually build the team up to being a good enough level, but we'll see. It's going to take us a while to get the championship, but let's see how long it does take us and how we did it. So the year is now 2034 and Bishop Stortford are going up to the Premier League. After beating Wolves in the playoff finals, I believe it's taken us 3 seasons. We are now 11 seasons in to this rebuild. We are a long way into the future, and we are now going to be a Premier League club. We've still got a long way to become Premier League and Champions League champions, but season 11, we have done it. You see a brand new striker in Kyle Amato, absolutely smashing it. I will show you how we have found players like that in just a few seconds, but we have ended up winning the Championship playoffs this season, which is brilliant. I have mentioned that it's going to be a bit of a slog now. I think 31-32 was our first season in the Championship. We come 9th, which is fantastic. 32-33, we come 7th, just outside of the playoffs, and this season we come 6th, just inside the playoffs, only 6 points off winning the league, but you know, a very, very good season and winning the playoffs, which is fantastic. We actually transitioned the Championship football very well, never really falling out of being in contention in the playoffs. 72 points, we were just 7 in the first season away from getting into the playoffs. We were 7 points away in season 2 to get into the playoffs, and we smashed it this season to get into the playoffs and get our chance of Premier League football. Now, the squad and staff have improved massively here at Bishop Stortford, and that is because of constant asking for the board to give us that, but I genuinely don't believe it would be possible without making our staff at this level. We've now got 8 coaches, a ZP coach, an assistant manager, and myself, so we have pretty much got the best staff in the league. We've got 6 out of the 8 possible scouts. That has just been improved, which is fantastic, meaning we can now actually scout not just the UK and Ireland, but the world. And that helped us to find a player like Kyle Amato, who again, I don't think we'd have found without using our youth appearances sort of thing that we do in terms of scouting the world. And finding Kyle Amato, who was capped at the under-23s, leveled for America, absolutely smashed it in Seattle in the MLS, and then didn't get a brand new contract. So we picked him up, and in the Championship, he has got plus 17 goals in all 3 seasons. And like you saw there, scored the winner in the playoff final. He's got 18 finishing, 16 determination, 15 composure, and great pace. Apparently a League 2 level player. That makes 0 sense to me in any way. I'm not sure if the scouts have just got stuck in the fact that our reputation is very good or something, because there is no way a striker with 18 finishing, 15 composure, 16 determination, and that sort of pace is going to be a League 2 level player. He would score 200 goals in League 2, so I'm not sure if it's a slight bug with what it's telling me. But again, just another reason to not always look at star ratings and to look at individual stats, because it is obvious this guy is going to absolutely bag goals if he's sitting up front, and he has been absolutely fantastic. Someone like Ulrike Shahin, we've had to train from striker to cam because of how good he was, and this guy is released from, I believe, Middlesbrough or even Preston or Salford. I don't know where he was released from, but he's consistent. He loves a big match, and again, at this sort of point, we can start looking at things like that. He has 16 dribbling, great determination, great pace. Again, a free transfer from Middlesbrough, decent first season, but this guy is an absolute superstar and apparently is a good championship level player. Now for me, when you compare their graphs, there is obviously differences in their game, but for someone to be a League 2 level striker and someone to be a championship, when the League 2 one has the same speed and same attacking, which is exactly what you need as a striker, it just makes zero sense. So again, sometimes just ignore the star ratings and look at the key stats, because Sahin is fantastic and he is a good championship level player, but compared to Kyle Amato, I know who I'd rather have up front, which is why I made that executive decision. Alex Booth is still here and is absolutely smashing it. Caleb Anson is a keeper that I signed to come in and be our superstar. I mean, he's got 19 area reach, 17 communication, great one-on-ones, was released from Norwich in the championship, and again found the way that I showed you guys in terms of scouting from, we're getting him on trial while they were still at their parent club. But Charlie Casper, who in my opinion is nowhere near as good as a good goalkeeper, is still playing every single game, now has a value of £10 million and is a good League 2 keeper. And I believe it. I've got no idea how this guy is playing at this level, but he is. And again, we've even signed Mbappe. Martin Mbappe, it's a regen. He's been signed from Cotton Sport in, I believe, Cameroon for £165,000. And that is through the scouting that I'll show you guys in just 2 seconds. But this guy is absolutely fantastic. Great marking, tackling, heading, great defensively, great determination, aggression, bravery, etc. But how we found him is by having a scout that has some world knowledge and just scout in Africa, in the continent area region. Now, again, for a full scouting breakdown on this exact scout method, I've done a full video on, because it is absolutely fantastic. The only thing that I would add to that video, which I wish I put in there, but I didn't, is what I'm going to show you guys right now, is that looking at the world knowledge is the most important thing. So the guy that knows a little bit about Africa is Josh Onoma. Now, obviously, that guy plays in real life, currently as a footballer, but right now he's a retired scout, and he has world knowledge of England and Nigeria. So it's good to send someone that has world knowledge of where you're going to have to send them into their scouts. Now we've got them 2 extra scouting places, so now we can send someone to South America and North America as we go ahead and hire scouts. That will be good enough to go ahead and look at America and South America. We've already got someone for Australia and New Zealand. We've got someone for Asia. Now time to get probably a better European one, a North American one, a South American one. Make sure to color this map in as much as you can, so you can go to recruitment focuses and you can find players from all over the world from your scouts. As a club, we are now pretty rich. We've got £30 million in transfer budget, 140k in wage budget. Finances wise, apparently just £5 million in the bank, so maybe the club are willing to mud themselves. I mean, this window, this transfer, this season, in terms of wages, we were very close to the bottom. £9 million spent this summer. We were up against teams on £52 million. They had 5 times more the wages of us, and we have just outperformed them and out XG'd them. We're a little bit of a Moneyball club here at Bishop Stortford, and speaking of Moneyball, there will be a Moneyball specific video coming out next week. Not only will it be a Moneyball rebuild, I'll also be doing a Moneyball how to play video next week, so if you're interested in Moneyball, that'll be coming up next week. But that's the championship section of the video done. The Premier League, I'm not quite going to do it in the same way of going forward to when we win the Premier League. I'm going to come back when we sort of get into Europe, and then from Europe to getting the Champions League places, and then from getting the Champions League places to winning the league, because they're 3 different steps. First of all, you have to become a sort of mid-table Premier League club. You then have to become a European Premier League club, a Champions League Premier League club, and then the step to winning the league is often very, very difficult. So we're going to be doing that in 3 stages on how to move your club through the Premier League, which again will help you if you're doing a rebuild of a lower club like Bishop Stortford and you've got them to the level, or if you're doing a Wolves rebuild and you're looking to go to the next step. So stick around for the Premier League section of this rebuilders as we take Bishop Stortford to Champions League winners. There is still a long way to go, but we're getting closer. We're now in the Premier League. So for our first season in the Premier League, I tried to be rather clever and carry on with the free signings malarkey, and Hope it was going to stay us up, and it did just about. We come in 17th place, 3 points above the relegation zone on 36 points, but I severely regret doing that because it was very scary as I was simulating to see if we would be relegated, but luckily we managed to stay up. We had a pretty hard run in as well when we're not great, but luckily a 4-1 win against Cardiff a few games before the end of the season made it just so we stayed up, which was fantastic. I mean, we spent £4.5 million, which is quite literally nothing, and only spent out £1.1 million in sales. As we look through the Premier League as well and look at our stats in team detail, go to the wages at the bottom, we are spending half as much as 19th place Watford, where we're spending £24 million in the Premier League. For example, Manchester City, £308 million in salary. We're spending 24 million. And in terms of our net transfer spend, just £2 million. So, yeah, I definitely tried to be a bit too smart and too clever in the first summer window, which is something to definitely take a note of for anyone, again, doing this sort of save. I didn't take the next step and I probably should have done it. It has built a nice transfer kitty up. We've got £43 million in finances, which is fantastic. If we look at our projection, we are looking to become super mega rich because we're spending nothing on outgoings. Now, our actual wage budget is £127,000 more than we can right now, which is great. We've got £50 million in transfer budget, and we're going to be able to now go ahead and find players from all over the world. Like I said, in terms of staff, my next big thing was to make sure we could go ahead and scout North America and more of Europe and South America, and now we can do that. We have fantastic knowledge in our staffs in South America, great knowledge in North America. Europe is decent, probably to be improved as we go through to the next step, but I wanted to bring you guys back fairly early on, just a seasoning, because a lot of people won't know actually how to find these sorts of scouts where they have good world knowledge, so I'm here to teach you that and show you exactly how you can find scouts with the good world knowledge. So first of all, head to the staff search screen that I've been showing you, staff role into scout, and then world knowledge you can click on and you can at least see who has got good world knowledge. Now, obviously, if you're looking in Europe, you want to set it to a bit of a weirder nation. Now, I sort of always go to Croatia. For some reason, it's just where I seem to find a lot of my kids from. So some of these people have got good knowledge of Croatia. Now, how you actually see what their knowledge is, if you click on them on the scout knowledge down here, this guy has England, Belgium, Croatia, and Sierra Leone. So he's okay, not the best. Tonio Kelic is exactly what we're looking for. Great knowledge of Croatia, Turkey, and Bosnia. Good knowledge of Albania, Macedonia, Slovenia, Kosovo, and Montenegro. He is great at searching in them areas. Now, he's not the best scout, but that can be improved over time. The world knowledge is often quite difficult to find in a scout. Someone like Liam, probably even better, actually. Great knowledge of Croatia, England, Germany, Ireland, Scotland, Spain, and even Australia. So this guy could be one to send to Elchiona, or someone to send in Europe, because he knows Spain, Germany, England, Croatia. Very good player, a very good scout even, and they're the sort of scouts you're looking for. Now, if I go and scout somewhere in Nigeria, the sort of scout that I would look for in Nigeria would probably be in Africa would probably be Nigeria, is what I was trying to say. Nigeria, luckily, is quite a good one, so you can always set up another one. So you go to scouting again. World knowledge is Nigeria, and at least you can have a little bit of knowledge also in, let's say, Cameroon. No scouts, no Nigeria and Cameroon. If we go to Africa, go Nigeria and Egypt. No scouts know that either. Basically, you're going to try and find someone that's got more than one nation. Umar Abba just knows Nigeria. William Abunde just knows Nigeria. Nwonga just knows Nigeria. Okay, this could be hours of me looking through to try and find someone that doesn't just know about Nigeria, but also knows about somewhere else in Africa, like our scouts do. But yeah, basically, that is how you're going to go ahead and find the best scouts. Now, our staff, again, we have been improving massively, which is great. We have the best defensive coach, attacking coach, mental coach, and technical coach in the Premier League, so pretty much in the world, which is fantastic. That is something that has really helped us this season. The club info is still absolutely shocking. We have 1-star training facilities, 1-star youth facilities, 1.5 silver stars of youth recruitment. The owner, however, is thankfully looking to sell, so hopefully we can get some money in. In terms of players we did bring in this window, there was a few decent players that made a big difference. Someone like Kaluli Dalada, who was released from Chippa United in South Africa, was a free signing, 6.84 average rating, has made 24 caps in 20s, hence why we found him. Again, still using that capped method. 16 composure, 16 first touch, 16 determination. I knew this guy would be good enough. Even if it says he's a League One player, it was obvious he wasn't going to be based on them stats. Someone like Darren Holmes has also been brought in, £4.5 million, an English centre defensive midfielder from Hull. How I found this guy, I'm not 100% sure. Looking back on it right now, probably just found him in my scout report that the staff gave me, because he hasn't played any games for England. He's not no caps for Youth England. Just seems to be a very good player, extremely consistent, great well-rounded stats. £4.5 million, an absolute bargain. Now, the next step is going to be quite a difficult step. We've got to take a 17th place side into European football. Also, hopefully going to try and win some FA Cups and some Carabao Cups. It's going to be a long old journey, but looking at the history of Bishop Stortford and how we have done so far, looking at the graph, it looks absolutely beautiful. Obviously, our first season was a half season in the 23-24. We come 16th. Then obviously ended up winning the National League North. Come 10th, come 5th, got rubbed into the playoffs. Come 11th in League 2, come 4th and got up through the playoffs. Come 18th in League 1, come 2nd and automatically promoted. Come 9th, 7th and 6th in the Championship before getting promoted, and we are now in the Premier League. A very successful rebuild so far, but there is a long way to take it to the next level, so I'm going to bring you guys back when I've secured some European football for Bishop Stortford. And well, it's only taken 3 years of Premier League football, where obviously we come 17th in the first season, 16th in the second season, but because we signed a lot of wonder kids, we have come 6th in this season, and we've done a fantastic season on 58 points, 16 wins, 10 draws and 12 losses, a positive 11 goal difference, and sitting in 6th in the Premier League, which is extremely impressive. I am very happy with how we have gone here. Just 3 seasons in the Premier League and getting into the Europa League, which is brilliant. Now, sadly, in the FA Cup, we've not managed to win anything there just as of yet, and in the Carabao Cup, we were knocked out by QPR in the second round, so that probably tells you how we've been doing there as well. You can see from this graph, we have been a mid-table Premier League club, moving up into 6th for the second half of this season, have been absolutely fantastic. And one player that is still here and is apparently still just a good Championship striker is OK Shaheen. Now, with his great dribbling, great pace, good finishing and composure, great determination, resolute personality, he scored 19 goals in 35 games. Trust me, this tactic is fantastic, and just signing players with key stats in their position makes a massive difference on FM. Now, another thing that I love about this guy, he's extremely consistent and he loves big matches, so that massively helps. He is a Championship level striker, smashing it in the Premier League and taking us to Premier League, European even football, which is brilliant. Now, the club has gone up massively in recent years. Obviously, we joined around here last time. Parachute payments went down. We carried on getting richer to the point we've now got £82 million in the bank, £65 million to go ahead and spend in terms of transfer budget. And in terms of our sort of spend in terms of our wages, we have kept that on the download still. We are still bottom on this, just £36 million. Looking at 6th place West Ham, where we have just finished, they're spending £229 million on wages. So I think it's safe to say we're absolutely smashing it. In terms of our data hub, we're also doing very well, pretty much above average in absolutely everything. And I have to say, a lot of it is down to this tactic that I have built. It is simply fantastic, and I cannot stress enough how having a good tactic does help indeed. So tactic creators, a massive shout out to them, because they're helping you guys a hell of a lot. And I mean, I have made this tactic. I wouldn't class myself as a tactic creator at all, but this tactic is banging, and like I said, it is going to be out in just 10 days on Josh Daly's channel, but it is on my channel right now. I'm going to very quickly click through everything. For anyone that is at this point in the video, you deserve to be able to download this tactic. I mean, you can't download it, but you can copy it off screen right now as I'm waffling in the background. This has been the tactic for the whole time. There's a lot of tackle harder. It's not the most ambitious tactic in the world in terms of there's not a lot of inverted play or anything. In fact, it's pretty much countering what the rest of the sort of AI will do. The AI play a lot of inverted this season, so we're using width with attacking wing backs and overloading the central areas as well. So a fantastic tactic. You can see all of this as well. Feel free to copy, and like I said, if you got to this point in the video, make sure you're liking it as well and subscribing to the channel. Now, in terms of sort of tips from this point out, I think a lot of you guys know what I've been doing. I've been doing a lot of scouting of the whole entire world. You can see how this has grown over recent years, which is fantastic. The scouting methods we are using is the exact same that I've been showing you the whole time out. I mean, at this point, there's not really a lot for me to tell you other than the fact that we are basically just trying to become the best team we can. I'm no longer doing a lot of free agent business. It's now pretty much just wonder kid signings, picking up players from all over the world. I mean, we've got Colombian players in here, we've got Asian players in here from Busan, we've got a player from Mallorca, St. Gallen, AEK. I mean, this guy is fantastic. And again, apparently is just a League One striker, 17 finishing. I don't believe it. With unbelievable pace, work rate, technique, teamwork. He's not scored loads of goals in this league, but he's 19 years of age, has made 2 caps for Greece, which is probably how I found him in all honesty. But the fact that it's saying this guy's a League One level player is an absolute lie. He is well good enough to be a Europa League level striker. And over the next few years, you're going to see him develop into exactly that. Now, obviously, I need to take this team to the next level and securing Champions League football. So let's go ahead and do that one. We're a few years down the line into 2040. We have come 5th in the Premier League and taken that next step. It has been a long slog. I think it's been 3 seasons since you guys were last here. If we click back on the sort of past winners and go through how it's been a bit of a slog. I mean, yeah, we come 6th in 26, 37, 37, 38, we come 11th, but qualified for the Champions League by winning the Europa League. I'll show you guys that in just a few minutes time. In 38, 39, we come 8th and qualified for the UEFA Conference League. And then this season, coming 5th and qualifying for the Champions League. Back to that Europa League win. We ended up playing against Arsenal when superstar brand new signing Mickey Shenton, who I will show you in just a second, got us underway with a penalty goal before Martinez found Aviel to the left-hand side, and another fantastic signing, an unbelievable left back. I believe he's a left back, scoring the goal there. We were fantastic in this game. Over this whole entire season, we weren't fantastic as we actually look through the league. Like I said, 11th place in this one, -3 goal difference, 46 points. But being our first year in Europe, I don't think it's an awful season. You can see probably the European games hampered us a hell of a lot as we sort of head into sort of October, November. It was a very difficult period, even dropping down into the relegation zone, but we were good enough to get ourselves back up, and a mid-table finish is respectable given the amount of extra games we had to play. We got to the quarterfinals of the Champions and the FA Cup in this one, knocked out by Chelsea, and third rounded in the Carabao Cup by Derby in this season. But as we head back to present day in 2040, we've won the FA Cup and the Europa Conference League in this season. We're in the Conference League. We played against Fenerbahce and it was a 2-1 victory. We even went 1-0 down in this one, which I think shows the growth. Now, a lot of the players you see in this team are the same players that were in the last team that won the Europa League, and that's because I've taken a massive shine into wonder kids and signing players that are going to be like 18 and turn into superstars, exactly like Mickey Shenton. Now, he is an absolute superstar. He is wearing our number 7 and is one of the best players I've picked up on FM in a very long time. He was signed from Peterborough, and with the stats that we've got right here of 17 dribbling, 16 determination, outrageous pace, I decided £30 million was worth spending on him, and he has proved to be unbelievable. 15 goals last season, 7 goals, 10 assists this season. Fantastic right winger, and we sort of got to the point where I needed to invest in some big players. You saw we come 17th, then 16th, and then we signed Mickey Shenton and started actually spending some money. So we'll go through the sort of transfer business in just a few seconds time, because we've also got to the point where we've had to start selling players as well. But Mickey Shenton, fantastic player, and that was just the Europa Conference League. We also ended up winning the FA Cup, and that was a 3-1 victory against Brighton, where again we went 1 goal down. I think a Ben Woodburn header at the back stick there before Brown finds Mickey Shenton. You're going to see how good this guy is. He's going to go all the way alone and blast one in there to make it 1-1. We're then going to see 2-1 Shenton with the corner, and Herrera at the back stick is not quite going to win it. Going to fall to our other centre back Mackenzie before finding Gomelia, who was an unbelievable signing as our left winger, and the young Greek striker that I showed you just a few sort of minutes ago there to score the penalty in off the bench. A fantastic player to have here at the squad, and as an absolute superstar, Alexis Sartolius, now 17 finishing, £52 million of a value, still loan listed due to an error myself, but 17 stars this season and really becoming a superstar for us. But the transfers are sort of where I want to touch on next, and we have started to spend some serious money. As I head back, we spent 50 million in the last season, well, the season after the last one you saw, then spent 63 million pounds, and that was just complete outgoing them to 115 million pounds of no real outgoings, just net spend, which was pretty rough. So in this season, we decided to cash in on some of our superstars. 179 million pounds was sold for players like Darren Holmes, who I believe we signed for 4.5 million pounds. Federico Trevuzio went off to Al Ali. We signed him for 10.5 million pounds, sold him for 58. And again, when you're building a club, sometimes you have to sell your superstars for some serious profit. Geronimo Aviele, £6 million, sold him for £38 million. Alexandro Perez to Manchester United, signed for £5 million, sold for £27 million. All just unbelievable profit, and I think we've done a very, very good job of that. Now, we obviously spent £115 million in that window, and that's the window, I believe, just gone. So £4 million just spent, £57 million again on the outgoings, and again, Jorge Luis Reynoso was signed for $775k from Colombia. Very good here for 4 seasons. See you later for $32 million to Al Hilal. So finances wise, we've actually done very well in building a big old kitty of money. For this next season, we've got £120 million to go ahead and spend, which is going to be a very, very key season, because I think this season we can actually take this squad from sort of being the Premier League 5th place squad and qualifying for the Champions League to winning both in one season. And I think that's because of William Bayliss as well. Now, when signing this guy, I was very, very convinced he was going to be an absolute superstar. He was at Wolves, where he was not scoring many goals. He'd been on loan at St. Gallen, where he was not scoring many goals, but I signed him and believed in him, and because his stats are fantastic. Great pace, great finishing, great composure, flair off the ball. Apparently just a decent Premier League striker, but again, I don't know if that's a bug in this save, because this guy is lights out good. He looks absolutely fantastic, and I signed him alongside Jordi Gamilia because as much as I was confident in Will Bayliss, I knew this guy could be our superstar left winger, Mickey Shenton on the right wing, and William Bayliss up top. And this guy's got fantastic finishing, fantastic pace, and great determination. And the reason I signed this guy and I locked him in to left wing for the last 2 seasons rather than him taking that up front role is because I believe William Bayliss is good enough to be there. I just think he needs someone that can also finish on the left wing next to him, and that's exactly what this guy's been since coming in. He's been fantastic from Osasuna. So buzzing with how the team is looking. I think we are really progressing now as a club. We are actually a Champions League club. I've not even mentioned our new superstar Cam and Steven Berbesi. This guy's a Colombian Cam. Great dribbling, great flair, great technique, great pace. I've sacked off everything I spoke about recently in terms of being cheap. We've got on to Wonder Kid season. This guy moved off to Saudi Arabia a few years ago. We signed him for 31 million this summer. He got a 7.33 average rating in the Premier League in his first season. So absolutely outrageous. We've now got to take it to the next step. So much money to spend. Can we do it in just one season? Well, of course, we spent the money that was available because we needed to take this Northwood side to the next level. So we signed a Norwegian for Liverpool for £65 million, who looks absolutely unbelievable. We've got a few players in here for 20 million, sold a few here and there, but overall spent around 110 million in this window, which was very, very good. I mean, last season we were absolutely fantastic. Obviously lifting the Europa Conference League and also lifting the FA Cup. Or this season, Mickey Shenton decided that the FA Cup last year was not going to be the only FA Cup he was going to get in a Bishop Stortford shirt. He put us 1-0 up before Everton got us to 1-1. But Mickey Shenton, I've been talking about this man for 3 or 4 years now. He is an absolute superstar. Larger Vaja finds Shenton in the box and he bags it home to make it 2-1. In this game, we were absolutely fantastic again. Everton, to be fair, probably slightly better than us. They ended up coming 5th place in the Premier League this season and were absolutely brilliant. But we were very, very good as well. And obviously, we were in the Champions League this season for one of the first times. I think it's the second time we've been in the Champions League after we ended up winning the Europa League. And we were actually lucky enough to take Bayern Munich all the way to penalties in a Champions League final. And Callas missed the first penalty for us. They scored, but Padavoni is going to have his name up in lights. Shenton scores from the spot, of course. Mayo for Bayern Munich bags it home, and the game is all tied up, I believe, at 2-2. Taylor bags one home for them, and from here, Padavoni is going to turn in to Lilakovic for Croatia from the World Cup. Bayliss, the striker, bags it home, and Padavoni saves the next one. And Bishop Stortford are FA Cup and Champions League winners in season number 18. And look at this game against Bayern Munich, right? An absolute demon of a club, and we have pushed them all the way to the limit. 0-0 in the game. Stats are pretty much dead even. 2 XG for them, 1.9 XG for us, 1.98 XG for us. It's so tight for the whole game. We had 2 clear chances. They had none. But we lifted the Champions League, and in the Premier League, we completed the treble in 2041 to make Bishop Stortford Premier League winners, FA Cup winners, and Champions League winners. And we've taken a club that are the worst team in England to the best club in the world in 18 years. And I think the only way you can properly represent what we have done here, and if you look at what Bishop Stortford were in 2019, 2020, 17th in the Isthmian League, we have had a meteoric rise in the Premier League to where we are now. Last season finishing in 5th, this season winning the league. We won the Champions League, the Premier League, the Europa League, 2 FA Cups, a UEFA Conference League, and other than that, a Vanarama National League North. We never won the National League. We got promoted to the National League via 5th in the playoffs, in League 2, 4th, and in the playoffs in League 1, automatic promotion, but coming 2nd. In the Championship, 6th, and in the playoffs, and then when we went into the Premier League, we were actually fantastic. The only major trophy we never ticked off was the Carabao Cup, so I guess there's a bit of a failure on my part, but an unbelievable journey in which, of course, we have become a club legend with Phil Hopkins, Terry Moore, and Graham Arger. There is no players here other than Stephen Budabesi, who is the Colombian central attacking midfielder, who this season, in the treble winning season, got 21 goals and 8 assists. Max McKenzie was a centre back, and he's been here for a long old time, 10 years actually. Max McKenzie from the Championship to here now. Pretty crazy that it's taken us 10 years to get that sort of gap up there. But he is here and he is an absolute club icon, a favoured person now even. Darren Holmes, who I believe we sold to Al Nassr, we did indeed for 38 million. He is known as a club icon. Jack Giddens, I don't think it's anything to do with us. He is not. Jamie Curran and Dwight Gale, and obviously us as the legend Kempi XI. That is quite a nice thing to finish this up on. I mean, you can see here the club we were dealing with was very, very difficult. 1.5-star youth facilities, 2.5-star training facilities, 3-star youth recruitment. I even think literally I've been going for this a ridiculous amount to try and get the board to improve everything, but they are just not having it. It is absolutely impossible. Of course, the board is an A+. They absolutely love us. We've got £175 million in the bank. Absolutely no debt, and we have built Bishop Stortford from the worst team in England to the best club in the world. If you enjoyed this very long rebuild but very fun rebuild, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel because there's so many videos over here. And if you've not seen the Manchester United rebuild, which is down there, it's an absolute banger. And coming up next week is a Moneyball rebuild with FC Porto, so make sure to keep your eyes peeled for that one.